I'm Brian Forbes, and welcome to another edition of Invention. We are joined today by Sir Reginald and what can only be described as his better half, his wife, Lady Beatrice Poon Boheno. Yes, Lady Boheno, you're an American, and it's interesting...
That's all I'm getting, darling. His stream must be down.
Oh, no, he's not on the video stream like the times I showed you at home. No, Brian is right here, my love, right here in the room with us.
Here?
Yes, my sweet.
Yes, hello.
Oh!
Yes.
Hello.
There he is.
Yes, yes. Well, Lady Boheno, it's interesting to finally...
Ha! Gone again. Oh, buffering.
I see why you two are together. So, Sir Reginald, what have you two been up to?
Is it that obvious?
What? No. Darling, we used the wipes in the car.
We did.
No, forgive you. No, what projects have you been up to?
Well, I've been wanting to do some things with her for a long time,
I thought you just did.
and it was amazing. But my wife, Lady Beatrice Poon Boheno, is only lending some of her inestimable talents to this particular project. She's a lifelong naturalist, of course. She's got degrees in ecology, biology, and quantum physics.
Well, it sounds as though she might finally lend some credibility to one of your undertakings.
Yes.
So, Lady Boheno...
Yes?
Lady Boheno, what have you been developing?
There you are. Finally! There you are. We have signal. We have Brian.
Yes?
We have invented a number of high-concept theme restaurants called the Food Chain.
The food chain. Well, that sounds clever.
Yes. And in these restaurants, customers actually compete with the other creatures in the ecosystem for their meals.
Good Lord, woman.
Lady?
Good Lord, lady woman. How can this food chain work in practice?
Well, there's no time to practice, truth be told. I often just leap in there with my sausage, yes, and try and eat it before a very hungry coyote does. You know, and then with a sense of near accomplishment and the healing hands of my sweet Lady Poon. Well, I know we have a winner for a theme restaurant.
A winner? Well, that must be different for you. So, how could this restaurant possibly be successful?
It will be successful, Brian, because the more you eat, the hungrier the birds, animals, and reptiles become over time, eventually making you feel very much a part of the food chain. Now, the ecosystem usually achieves balance again during Friday's 5 o'clock happy hour.
Oh, you have a happy hour.
Well, for the animals, yes.
Yes. A very happy hour of feasting on some of the dense population of our Friday night customers, as they, of course, avail themselves of cocktails, aperitifs, the stinky cheese insect repellent cart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, what animals might I compete with if I were to, say, order a steak dinner at your restaurant?
Well, it could be anything, really.
What springs to mind?
Well, lions spring to mind. They often spring to throat as well. You know. But we have lions, of course, featured in our beautifully decorated... This is all her again, my sweet. Beautifully appointed, recreated Serengeti dining safari.
Dining safari.
Dining safari, yes. And you might even notice buried there in the Serengeti, right next to your table, can't even see them, this jittery wait staff waiting to clear away your platters or your entrees to avoid carrion feeders. You know, like vultures and their huge droppings. They seem to constantly be hovering overhead the restaurant, you see, ready to descend.
Well, is the food any good at your food chain?
We don't know. We've never been able to catch any.
So, it sounds as though this obviously isn't a family-friendly restaurant.
Oh, yes, actually, many spouses come to our restaurant to celebrate their anniversaries in hopes of leaving unencumbered.
So, carrion finished the meal?
No, predators finished the mate.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, well, it's quite natural. It's all part of life's rich pageant. It's how the world works. I mean, Brian, say your mate liked the meal. Say it.
Your mate liked the meal.
See, that's what it sounds like. We've never gotten that
That's
at the restaurant.
lovely.
I love that. But for example, your mate wasn't that wild about this selection. Well, a carnivorous predator, you see, Brian, will sense their weakness and the remaining food and quickly weed the mated pair from their table.
Well, this sounds completely dangerous. I mean, the service would have to be extremely vigilant to get any customers at all.
Extremely vigilant. That's the term. Yes, extremely vigilant. That's what we should use in the daily job adverts for new staff.
Absolutely. Genius.
All right.
You.
Take me through this. I arrive at your restaurant. What happens first?
First, our greeter tracker comes up to you and says, "How many in your party? Shh, come this way. Sit.
Yes.
Sit here. They're all around."
They do. And then we're the only restaurant that can confidently then say, "How many in your party would you like to leave with?"
Mm-hmm.
I am astounded that you two are still in business.
Well, thank you.
I mean, with piles of corpses of diners everywhere, how can you expect new customers?
Well, we grappled with this question for some time.
We did.
Much as our first customer grappled with a Komodo dragon
For some
a
time.
fabulous butternut squash with gnocchi and sage butter.
Yes. Now, Brian, in the end, we actually decided that for any truly green restaurant ecosystem, we needed more carrion feeders.
Carry on.
So now, every morning, the hyenas, the birds, they all eat the carcasses of the customers or any defeated wildlife, leftover dinners from the night before, as you now dine on your beautiful eggs Florentine breakfast.
Oh, my word.
Brian, think about this. Come on now. Think about it. The sense of achievement, the appetite you'll work up. Just wrestling a muffin from a Virginia opossum. Or perhaps ice fishing with the ever-present danger of polar bears and cracked ice.
Well, with the danger, is the food at least affordable?
What? Oh, he's still here. Yes, well, some of it is. I mean, the Ethiopian fly buffet, there's a lot of buzz around that
Yeah,
one.
you've brought them.
Yeah. But most of the food is a bit more expensive. You don't want cheap seafood, even in this economy. And Lady Bo loves her sushi.
Yes, and imagine how much more priceless my sushi is when it is pried from the jaws of a striped mud turtle.
That's right. I've pried her sushi. It's priceless. If you're motivated and very hungry, we've got a full seafood restaurant, with scuba room. We've got diving certification on premises while you wait to be seated. It's brilliant. And then as you're seated in our underwater seating, of course, you can pick off schools of sea bass and tuna and carp, all between bursts of oxygen from our patented mastication rebreathers, our finest invention.
Oh, his and hers rebreathers, actually, that we designed for mutual mastication.
It gets pretty wet down there.
Yes.
What?
Down in the vast wetlands and scuba room, of course, Brian.
Yes, I see.
Yes, and so these vast areas of dense vegetation and food have to be cleared away by our waiters, sometimes our sommelier, and even poachers.
Yes.
Clear it away.
Even during our simplest of meals, you've got maggots of flesh flies eating away at your pork pie and Branston pickle. And let me tell you, that creates nitrogen and carbon, which is notable.
And who noted that?
Well, the health department was the first to note that in print.
Yes, printed.
Difficult.
It's very difficult, Brian, for the independent family food chain to survive in this era of corporate-regulated restaurants. But one review can make all the difference.
And has one review made the difference?
Well, the one that shut us down did.
Oh, my baby, my poor Reggie. I had to spend many, many hours comforting him in only the way that I can.
I don't even want to think about that.
Oh, I should hope not, Brian. You would look desperately homosexual if you were to do that to my husband.
Yeah, she
What?
does it better.
No, what? Look, I've never read a review on the food chain, but I suppose if I did, it would be a bad one.
All the other reviewers were mauled in our Appalachian mountain room.
Their own fault,
Yes,
by the way.
during critic night, though, which was unfortunate for us. And, of course, the food bloggers lost all sensation and all of their extremities in our Arctic Circle supper club. It's not the kind of exposure that we'd really been banking on in the dining world.
No, we were hoping to get at least one kind word written about our restaurant.
Yes, we were.
But we had to give up hope of that after all of the amputations.
Yeah, it's difficult to get a good review when you've got nothing but finger food for weeks ad nauseum. But not all of our ecosystems, of course, are that extreme.
So, fighting a starving warthog for a Salisbury steak and beans is not extreme?
Yes, well, all right, I will admit there was some miscalculation. There was that one, you remember that, the Highland Buffet. Well, apparently only microbial life could exist in there because the moon-like temperatures put some people off as much as the bagpipes.
No. Honestly, Brian, those diners could have availed themselves of our lovely hypothermal vent buffets.
They could have.
Yes, and we had booth seating with pressures of up to 3 Earth's atmospheres.
That's right.
I myself found it a very lovely place to dine. Oh, an enchanting place to survive.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you should see her when she's enchanted. Yes.
In survival mode.
Pretty amazing. Yes, well, I think we'll both have to admit, possibly in front of a federal tribunal, that this restaurant really wasn't for the casual diner or the real foodie.
No, we've actually lost a lot of customers.
We did.
Lost in that they didn't return to this restaurant, or that they perished while dining?
Yes. And as a man of science, I will say I was shocked by evolution run amok at our Galapagos Island bar. But we believe in our restaurant. We believe you can fight for your food, you can fight for your meal, you can fight to survive, and you can often leave hungrier than when you first arrived. And that can't be said of a lot of restaurants, let's face it.
It's true. We call it the food chain survival diet. You will lose weight, even if it's just a limb. Fatties love it.
They eat it up.
Well, I'll make sure that I have all my shots and no appetite before I see you again. Join us next time on Invention when Sir Reginald talks about his latest theory, one that I'll have to take him to task on.
Which one was that?
Well, that's your white paper, Sir Reginald, the one that asserts that female chest gazing actually has health benefits.
Oh, yes. Well, daily gazing at the female chest provides a myriad of health benefits on par with an exercise regime. Now, I've found, through gazing at the chest, I have increased blood flow, coronary artery disease is lowered, a release of endorphins, and an enhanced will to live. I found through my research that oogling often cuts in half the risk of stroke or heart attack just at 5 minutes a day. Gazing at the female chest lengthens a man's life.
You darling.